to an intimate evening. Oh, wait.
Okay, and go.
Welcome, everybody, to an intimate evening of poetry at the Office of Collecting and Design. It's a very special night for us. The lineup is fantastic. And this evening, I decided to have the owner of the building come in and read a little something that she has in one of her documentaries. Now, this took a lot of arm twisting. Jessica likes to be behind the scenes. She doesn't like talking unless you don't want to talk to her, and then she'll talk your ear off. But it's an honor to have her finally come up and welcome you all and do a little something for the evening. So, Jessica, Lauren, please come up here. And yes.
Hi. I definitely don't own this building.
Stop! I'm selling this.
It would be so much better. Yeah. No, but I do run this place, so there's that.
Curated amazingly.
Yeah.
You do everything that is Office of Collecting and Design.
Yeah.
She's also a documentarian who is going to read something from
Yeah, so Shwa asked me to read something from my first film, which is about the Japanese, it's sort of about Japanese culture, but specifically looking at the way that they appreciate insects, which is very specific to Japan.
What's the name of your documentary?
It's called Beetle Queen Conquers Tokyo. So tonight's theme is ephemera, as you guys know, or ephemeral. There's a concept in Japan that was developed in the 1800s by this scholar named Muturi Norinaga. And the concept is called Mono no Aware, which characterizes beauty as the transience of all things. According to Mono no Aware, true beauty is found in that which does not last, and includes the gentle sadness felt as it fades. So, Shwa thought that would be an appropriate quote for tonight.
Yeah.
I think he's right.
That's my poem for the evening. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you all being here. Jessica Ork, everybody. Please give her a big hand. We couldn't do this without her. She's way too modest. All right. That was my big feat for the evening to get her to come do that. I'm pretty excited about that. Yes. So, like I said, tonight's got an amazing lineup, and so we're just going to get right into it. So please, help me welcome to the stage, Alex, a.k.a. Astrologix. This is why I didn't do the Japanese names either. Chimira. Come on,
about. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. A little bit about me, I go by Astrologix Chimira or Alex, and the kind of poetry I read and write is pretty much cryptic, abstract, sometimes a little horror, sometimes about death, and sometimes about life struggles. And Ephemeral, writing 3 poems of this thing was probably the biggest challenge of poetry writing. Let's get it up real quick. And to start off with is one that kind of inspired writing Ephemeral. This is called Beautiful Silence. We sit as we stare in space, contemplating our existence in this place. Observing the unnatural habitat, our minds have slowed down time. Absorbing the overwhelming atmosphere while life is on the grind. While the ordinary seek out simple traditions, philosophers seek absurdity with apprehensions. My eyesight's terrible. The uncultured focuses deeply on labels, while the autonomous strive to stand out from the circle. And in this brief moment, the clock stopped spinning. Silence became cozy and addicting. The overcrowding ants instantly disappear, opening a beautiful sight so clear. Frozen in a state of trance with infinity, seekers reach the universe filled with eternity. Traversing past the light of the heavens and sailing the galactic ocean, and that moment felt like hours was going by, was a split minute of inspiration so shy. Thank you. This next poem is pretty much like a bit of a horror. and it's based on this witch talk, death passing, which I often tend to get. I get chills, and even if I'm not cold, I'll just like shrivel up and twitch and everything. And since that was like kind of like a brief moment, this is called Death's Veil. I walked through the darkness of the night, passing by neglected souls robbed of their light, withered to nothing but shaking bones of dread. What's left of their strength came to an end. Will I be buried in this desolate graveyard? Is this what fate holds for me in its cards? And in the shadows emerged a white veil, a woman with skin so bright and pale, flow of long blonde hair rich as gold. Once I look into her red eyes and I'm sold. Suddenly, in an instant, the light revealed death's face. The entity gripped me while I'm paralyzed in my place. For a brief moment, the cold breeze passed through me. My body began to twitch uncontrollably. Chills staggered my muscles as they got tighter. Going down my spine, it felt like it was about to shatter. And then I woke up, back into the realm of the living.
Oh, that was a good one, Alex. That really was.
And finally,
That's like death passing you by.
mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
And finally, and I'm pretty sure y'all can relate to this, some of us do tend to get stage fright when we're about to go up on, open mics and any kind of event that we do. This is called Before I Face the Storm. A friend once asked me, how do you do it? That is the question. Until now, I didn't have that comprehension. Often I get told how well I perform, how I show confidence as I face the chaotic storm, ready and willing to prove myself against the fearing God himself. Even while I hold this fire of courage, behind it is the ghost of apprehension. How do I do it, you ask? Before my final step, I close my eyes, take a moment so short and sweet, so I can reflect back, look deep within my collection of struggles. Each and every event has made me humble. Certain people who have ingrained into my life made my journey far less of a strife. Every set of skills I tirelessly develop, every poem I write to speak up. My failures are my lessons to learn, my triumphs are my joys of success. Now, in these glorious, crazy days, I stand before the almighty God of chaos, take full control of my destiny, overcome my dreadful anxiety, and charge head on into the storm of calamity. Thank you very much. If you want, you can follow me on my Instagram, Astrologix Chimira. And I hope you enjoyed my poem. Thank you very much for having me this evening.
So Alex, he'd been wanting to do some of our poetry events recently, and we do 3, usually once a month, and I have a list all over the place. And so when I was putting it together, the last few, Sugar, my wife, and I, we juggle a lot of stuff, and so I screwed up all the lineup. So Alex has been trying to get on our stuff, but I kept somehow not getting him on. So I was so happy to have him come and start this evening off. So thank you, Alex. Yeah. All right. Well, this next poet is familiar with all the things Avantpop does. He is another one of our top-selling poets at the bookstore, mainly because he puts his sexy body naked on the cover of his book. I think that helps. I recommend that to all our poets. But please, let's give a warm welcome to Andrew.
Yeah, eyesight's a thing. Alright, well, let's start with the book in question. And if you don't know, this is the cover.
Yeah, there he is.
We tried to get him to take his clothes off for this. But he said,
I charge extra for
Let's
this.
just make that a requirement.
This is called Withheld and Never Had. By late afternoon, this woman, my woman, not my woman, has awakened, sleeved long, eventuating, naked of legs. Her irises souping up the pupil, quadrating to shadows thickened over bare walls. Tears or spit or misplaced cum border the grace of her lips. She speaks in vestiges. I become sotto voce lightning, climbing in all corners. She sprawls out to me, gentle of bruises, under lambency of an apricot moon, abandoned in the blacktop. Do I stay over? He's not over. Are we over? This is called Unkeiner Eier. There was mold that floated in the open mouths of cups, mold that hardened on the lips of dishes, congealed whipped somethings, petrified dollops centered in bowls, and one of the cats pissed in all the burners. The crib I had just moved into the room grew cold fast. Soon I'd be back in family court to fight the gendered odds once again. Everything is timing. Your mother was escorted out in cuffs. Her boyfriend disappeared with the meth. I was up against the wall wearing nothing but hard water, and you had this way with your tears, they were as rain on a statue. Then it was all us, just us. The job market was nil, the towers had fell. We kept looking and looking until you'd come home smelling like coffee, I'd come home smelling like cigarettes. Beat and parting, lying to each other for sport, we made the rent and busted a pipe dream. We lived off of 7-Eleven hot dogs, $2 a buck. We checked the carton of eggs, the date first, the shells second. Our fingers combed the domes of someone else's breakfast. We could never see the break that received us. I anchored to a shadow of midnight blue-black hair, a poem I read at Cafe Roma that won you over. And when we playfully bartered our bodies in a game of Monopoly with your friend who had the tit job and sporty car, we all agreed that the opening track to Anima made us want to fuck someone else. You and I danced awkward underage on gay night at a bar in Apple Valley, managed by a boyfriend who long let you go. His Fahrenheit trailed into an office where he did whippets with drag queens, and I learned all those seasonal wildfires in California were for him. We drove all night home, Marlboro menthols, Depeche Mode, super big gulps, The Cure. Then there followed the many misaligned sentences, several false positives. You, 21 before me, stayed out all night in bars. When we hit the road to Reno, after the second or third Stephen King town, you had ended it with certainty without even telling me. Your best friend wanted to fuck you, and everyone wanted to fuck your mother. I prayed to a bottle of Cuervo Gold that I enshrined on a changing table empty of my son, and men invited me out for dinner but never showed I ate alone. In the attempt to find ourselves, we understood nothing of each other. We never should have been, at least in the way that we were, but to think where we would be had not we been together then would be a crime committed to the current of our lives. Forgot to mention all of that like took place down the street. And the 7-Eleven is by the Red Dwarf. Yeah, I used to live in this neighborhood. So.
The hot dogs there.
Yeah. It was like survival back then. All right, so these next poems are from a forthcoming chapbook called One More Night. If you were next to me now, I'd fucking kidnap you. Drive you to San Francisco, where we would start again in the Mission. Move out the hipsters, bring on the jazz. I'd brush up on Espanol. We'd struggle, be happy, drink coffee, watch the rain, walk the streets high in the fog, adopt cats, live off old books. I'd start giving you the parts I kept hidden away. Then you'd wake up and say, wait, hold on, it's too late. Those who make love halfway dig their graves prettily. I'm troubled of girls who ask me to sit at the edge of their bed just for a moment. Before the sun floods in, before it all becomes color, we are still black and white. She's laying there, bare legs, Breton shirt, navy panties, her mouth naked, a cigarette, short ivory Kerouac hair. I'm trying to leave. I know what's coming, but I have things to go, like checking my tires and eating coffee alone, or drinking poetry. In the waiting room as they rotate my soul. If I'm not leaving one place, I'm staying for good. Then they'll say things that I will never return. I try to warn them. I'm avant-garde, third stream jazz, Monday morning in the rain. They never listen. There was a little left over from the sun, putting the make on the Manhattan tall ones. As we came in on the Queens Bridge, the blue sky caught blushing. You started holding my hand at the light, 34th Street, but it was to reach my pulse, to feel it, when you asked me if I was cheating on you. And the elevated trains unmarked looked terrifying. Every brown building turning orange. Of course I am. The bus is coming in a direction back from where we came. You watch it arrive. You watch it leave. Later that night, we made fuck. In the morning, in line, at the bodega buying you milk and smokes. I changed my mind. I was playing all early vulnerable Janet Jackson in an empty bar, bleeding from my nose into my hand, hoping it would dry faster than it flowed, trying to drink my whiskey too. The bartender on a smoke break, writing in a journal, the blood, passionate, collective bargaining in my throat. I cough up a glob, spitting it into an ashtray. I don't know what possibly you could come back to as I look at myself in the reflection where all the bottles line up while loss is abandoning down faster than the speed in which you left me. I'm thinking of my next drink. Was I ever really thinking of you, or just using our separation to excuse all that I have done to us? Let's wait a while. The bartender brings his ink pages together. We don't make eyes yet. I swirl the sip in my glass, reeling in a life-leaving headache. I can do this all night. I can do this forever. All right, last one. I wish you would call me so I could quit drinking order better food, slow down my dying, give up gambling, stop writing this poem. I wish you would call. I'd tell you about the affairs, how wonderful they are, how horrible, the bite marks, the budding scars. There's a speech impediment tightening in my conscience. If you do call, I'm afraid there's nothing I could say to keep you on the line. Please call, if only so I can register my voice against or your voice against the frightening of my mind.
Well, now you all know why Andrew has a naked cover on his book. And if there's ever a soulful pouring out of a person's love and passion, it was his naked poetry that he just gave you. And I'm so stoked to have him here. Got another poet coming up. And then after that, we're going to have to take a break because I'm going to need a breather. Please help me welcome up one of my favorite legends in this town, Bruce.
This way we just sort of rotate like a wheel around. Okay, I've got to put all my stuff down. Okay.
Shuffle the papers.
Yeah, well, I'm very confused. I just want to say that right out the gate. Okay, so I always change what I'm going to read about 4 times. So I'm going to read this poem from, and this is, and I'm doing that right now, changing right as we speaking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read two like short poems, and then one longer poem that's about poetry and poetry scenes and things happening. So let me just get into it. So this is a travel poem from time I spent from my book Leningrad to Las Vegas, and this is called In May. One day you find yourself swimming in the middle of a lake on the opposite edge of the globe as the boat you rented paddles off toward shore, and your family hollers at you in a language you don't understand, and they slip away further and further until you can't tell what language. It's just you and the lake and you and the stroke you swim and the cold of the water and the stroke and the water and the stroke, and you roll up on your back in the sky. Okay. And I want to do this poem. This is the first poem in this other book called The Last Lie. To the bone. I realized he was dying, but wasn't sure why I thought so. It wasn't that he was too tired to roll over. I rolled him over, no problem. It wasn't the labored breathing or the way his comb-over didn't. After a long night's sweat, the hair stood up like Bozo the Clown. Maybe indignity was part of it. But it wasn't the tubes or the drip or the beeping heart monitor or even the way his weakness filled the room. Not so different from his strength, agitation, anxiety, calm, or anything he might feel usually filled a room. No, it was in his eyes. It was the way he looked up at me from dozing and smiled. A sweet, befuddled smile. Glad to see me, sure, but somehow totally without tension, as if the anxiety of living had gone, and all that was left was the sweet, befuddled mystery of his son standing before him. He smiled, and it scared me to the bone. And then this poem, so I made these I got all craftsy. I thought, and it's poetry and all that stuff. And I made these broadsides. Okay, yay! So all you have to do, I have 7 of them here, and each one is a little bit unique in the way I put them together. So all you have to do is tap me on the shoulder and say, "Oh, can I get a broadside?" So, you want a broadside?
Have them raise their hand right
Somebody
now.
raise your hand. Oh, there you go.
People want
Okay,
to
tap
tap you on the shoulder.
Okay, yeah, there you go. You got it.
Give them to me.
There's another one. Okay, there we go. Hand them out there. And then I'm going to read the poem. So, speaking of ephemera, right? We've got everything. We've got things that are passing and changing, and it's happening all the time around us. And the broadsides are going to be gone in moments, right? So, okay. So I'll let James finish and then I'm going to read it. So this is, we have like a really active poetry community. Shwa and Sugar are really helping everybody, and they're making a poetry community here in Vegas. I think, oh shoot. Tell him I took the podium apart. Move back a little bit. Okay, so yeah, so oh yeah, he's got me on camera. So anyhow, but this is, I sort of grew up and got in the poetry of North Beach, which was a place in San Francisco where a lot of poets from the 50s through even before that, back from the 20s really, Elmer Rice and Street Scene and all of that, and all these poets wrote, and some of them got famous, and it made such a crazy but a vibrant poetry scene. And I showed up there, I was a kid in the 80s, and an older kid anyhow, but I showed up there, and they really it was a fabulous time to be involved in a poetry scene. And I want to give you a feeling of what it was like. So this is called Elegy to a Reading. Is there anyone still around from when you were young? When we're all foolish, yet filled with delight to see each other. High signs, hugs, lives of lived poems, loves sweet and broken. The glaze in the shadows falling on Adler Alley as the Sunday afternoon reading became a who knows what might happen night at Specs. They say at 90 years old, Civil War vets went back to the battlefields, shook hands, replayed the contours of the fight. Fulfilled? What does that mean? Most days I scarcely believe who we were in our fecund years. The regression and transgression, the sweetness of loss, the beauty of the climb. Like Laura said, the heart is a four-door. Sometimes sadness comes along for the ride. Now so many of them gone so young. Whitman, Mike, Lerner, Eli, more. More loss, oceans. But also those I loved well. Kathleen and Danielle laughing over breakfast at the Vietnamese cafeteria before a shift at the Market Street Cinema. Whitman winking at the hat shop. The intellectual brain trust of North Beach all talking at once in Joey's living room. Laura hosting as many cats as poets. Oh, she had a laugh. Yet who can forget the way her poems could hush a room? And Jack Micheline, last man on earth, screaming at the poets to stand on the pool tables and sing, sing, wandering the mission as if he'd been hit on the head. And Jerry in love with guitarra, and little Nancy wanted something, and the time Gregory showed, all jesting in a voice made of keloid. And Andy with the beautifulest Stanford girl who peeled her shirt off and walked right up to me, talking without missing a beat, he in the next room, so 30 years later, I still have no idea what to say. And Chris tall in devil beard and leather, eyes darting scared as if beauty itself had cornered him. Susie, everyone loved because she loved them back. Biggest heart west of the Pecos. And Cyborg, who made Quirk a style, and a first date with Brenda leads to the baths. No one can forget the baths, but let no one say what happens there. Polly, blind as can be, but that smile somehow saw everything. QR, gaunt, funny, walking his revolutionary duck to Babar. And Alvin, now, finally, a saint in heaven as he became one in hell. And the poets of hell who jolted the scene. Revolution, bike messenger leading the people. Wild, heartfelt, feral. And Higgs, a tattooed tornado of poetry, laid down a voice direct from the whirlwind. And Bana, who could break your heart, and Jenny, who broke lots of them. West, who dropped out of Harvard to write poems that made fabulous heroes of the trannies. Heart so open, how could he shut that door behind him? And Kim with the poem of the family of drunks, and Sparrow's prayer to Goddess ATM, the miracle dispenses. Yet Joey shouting upstages any miracle. Even after Moon and Roses and Brian meeting Eli for lunch at Biff's, our poems couldn't stop kicking one another beneath the table. And the beautiful boys, Richard and Justin and Eric, believed he's reincarnated of Rimbaud. And Granny Bones and Nancy, clear, curly, cute. The girl next door dating Phil, her name for an actual brain tumor. And Bucky, the preacher's son, who hid handsome in humor. And Lerner take the stage at Chameleon and just stand there, smoking through the hecklers. That gentle suburban mother who kept rabbits as pets, kept a singing voice like a hailstorm, and kissed me all the way through Paul's party, and I'm sure that wasn't lust, but I'll probably never know what it was. Sometimes the song breaks your heart, and sometimes it just stops playing. And food after the cheapo Chinese of North Beach, our gaggle of gaudy poets, a crew of 30, scaring the tourists coming out of the bookstore. One poet weeping, milkshakes by Clown Alley, others consoling, others in laughter that echoes off the sky. The Transamerica Pyramid leans down from the skyline to listen to everyone chattering at once. All of us dressed like the circus came to town. Surely your memories would be different. And good thing. Still, it's a miracle. The air didn't charge with electricity and short out the night. Maybe it did. And I am just now waking, after napping, after love, after the reading. Was it all just a dream? Thank you.
Bruce Isaacson, everybody. Come on. We are so honored to have Bruce with us. You know, it means a lot to writers when you get legends and people who've done it to then come support other young writers and artists. And Bruce, we're always so honored to have you here. And thank you. Thank you for reading, because your stuff inspires all of us. Thank you. And after that, I can't have anybody else follow up Bruce. So let's take a break. Bathroom, drinks, water to the museum. Okay. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is an exciting night for many reasons. Not only is our poets phenomenal and just stellar, I got Jessica to come up and read.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
And now I'm going to have my wife come up and read. I'm gonna have you read everything I do.
I know it's open.
I know.
No
I know.
battery.
Sirs, I'll sit over here, babe. And,
All right.
This was her idea too, because I would never give up the stage.
I don't know if you've said it, but my name's Sugar. You didn't know. I don't do this, but it's my first time. I felt inspired to because this is the first time that Shwa is not reading at Intimate Evening of Poetry. and I felt like someone should read his poem.
Yeah.
And this one is very appropriate for Ephemeral. Don't clap for your push.
Sorry.
It's okay. And I don't have a lot of water, so by the end of the poem, my mouth will probably be dry. So I'm sorry for that now. So I don't have too much of an intro. I've actually barely read this now, so
What?
clap for me at the end.
I don't even know if I like the poem, but I'm going to read it.
I believe that this poem is about when Shwa went to Burning Man one time.
Ooh.
Is that correct?
Sure enough.
It could have been another festival because,
It's all
we haven't
festivals,
licensed their
actually.
name for this event. So it's the not Burning Man event. Okay. So it's called Festival Friends. I love how we bond on the drive to the event. It's as if our friendship the universe had sent. A collection of likes with an acknowledging nod. I understand what you're saying without listening at all. I can be invaluable if I like the story in your pitch. The soft ego is delicate of a deceitful sellout corporate bitch. Slurping and chirping, a flipping bird citizen, focused on acting like a selfish hedonist in the end. Don't let your attraction be why you stay. Outside of your smile, it's the fastest to fade. It's the name of the game, and that's how we win, said no one over 8 years on their deathbed. Now I'm wandering around alone and discontent. The group I was with dissolved in resent. I realize now each moment is fleeting. It's never about forever, it's only about meeting. A silent ride home, I was a fool not to see. Festival friends are all we seem to be.
Thank you.
That's all.
Sugar Laytart, everybody. Sugar Laytart. Best reading I've ever had, I gotta say. Oh, goodness. There are a lot of great poets in this town. And there are few as passionate that I have met as this next poet. And it's always an honor to have them on stage. I'm trying to get them to be a novelist so we can publish their work because they are so talented as a poet. I want more from them. And I think you'll agree. Please, James Norman, come on up!
Hey, so I thought really hard about Ephemera, considering where we're at and how it relates to the space. And I'm going to go quickly after this because I'm reading from chat books, which in themselves are ephemera. They're usually limited. And these are all shorter, and they're all related deeply to the concept in very many different ways. So this is from New Yokel. It's called Because I'm the Famous Writer, right? On an airplane to New York, I realize I'm sitting right behind Ja Rule. This doesn't impress me so much as the fact that somehow I know this. Terabytes of information dumped over a lifetime into a computer that's main function is to compute problems such as rent and how to schedule a blood test. It's no wonder we fuck it up. As we disembark, he asks another guy to grab his final bag from his matching Louis Vuitton luggage set in a different compartment, unreachable from his present seat. And he is so deferential in that moment, not even kind so much as tired. Same as every other asshole inside this hissing metal tube, although more rested than some, I assume. We are in first class. Later, I see him skulking in the bathroom, waiting to wash his hands. I'm not flexing or anything. I'm just trying to tell you something about human nature, about how the television hasn't really nabbed our soul all the way. Not yet. Even if it has already disfigured our self-image. People are pictures in boxes, ghosts composed by alleyways, dramas unfolding into a collapsing reality from the pressure of spectacle. And yet we all retire to the airport as citizens. No lighting, no makeup, no sweating boom operator making the whole thing appear effortless. New Age trolls call it a simulation, and they are right, at least partially, that we are more concerned with appearances. Except the famous man in the bathroom who is trying to will himself invisible like a child playing pretend. I won't break the spell. It's necessary for both of our sanity in this inhospitable simulation that I forget 90% of what I know for the only 10 that is real. It's called A Blizzard of Butterflies from Certified Beach Trash. They say there are Buddhist monks who sweep the path before their feet so they don't step on a single insect. I admire them. As I drive through a migration of tiny, wobbling butterflies, and they don't stand a chance. I'm going 70 miles an hour. The van is coughing up blood. The windshield is alive with the ballistic pattern of my inadvertent murder. It's a Rorschach test that reveals nothing since I can't see shit. Don't dare run the wipers. It gets so bad I consider stopping, but I don't, and neither do they. There are many sacrifices worth admiring, but only from a safe distance. Inside, I am just another butterfly searching for fair weather to leave my mark on the planet. This body is the cocoon. These words are stains on a windshield, each one recording another moment I fell short. I keep driving through their brilliant colored snow, searching for fair weather, as slow marching monks pursue me, biding their time. I'm sometimes what you call a day laborer. This is to age gracefully from a great height, from monasteries, letters from the Monastery of American Carnage. I put on a couple pounds while waiting for the Armageddon to clear for long enough to score another temporary gig. This is something I now regret, as I stand in this apple tree, bracing myself at an angle far beyond my own fulcrum, that the pruner in my hands might reach all the terminal branches. Poets should meet romantic ends, but the problem with that myth is that lately I'm more of a day laborer. Not to mention that falling out of a tree would only maim me. As a child, I climbed whatever I came across, climbed the hairy poison ivy vines up twisted oaks, though I only realized it later from the rash, which didn't deter me. At least I never fell, but it's a different world now, and I can't tell if it's because the trees got smaller or I got bigger. Time controls us easily while we are distracted by rituals through which we pretend to control time. The same generation that marched to stop the war in Vietnam is more than happy to stand by while their children lose eyes to rubber bullets in their own hometowns while protesting a war waged on drugs where all the casualties are still people. It's not that they are evil, but they've been conditioned by political televangelists to believe anger is the only path to a comfortable retirement. No matter how high I climb this tree, it will not lead to a comfortable retirement. In fact, the branches will get thinner and thinner. I will get heavier, my body weaker, and one day the fall might actually be enough to kill me. I only hope it does so first before it makes me mean with fear. This is about a friend. It was his birthday yesterday.
Aww.
Sleeping 10 miles away from the Alamo. You might want to hold that one for a sec. I sit and wait for a ghost to possess me. Crawl into my dream as something more real than guilt, which is only the crosshairs formed by love and the fear of losing it. I would schizophrenic under the trance of iodine hallways to hear your voice answer in my head. Mumble, mumble. I can't remember what you said anymore. Marathon talks are echolalic prayers now. Our delusions of grandeur adopted into the doctrine of this one-man religion you left behind for me. Piercing eyes rupture another dream. I wake up and hear the silence ring like an alarm tripped by your trespass. You see me, I see you. Then the static of shadow crystallizes into a room and surrounds me. I will not surrender, for I am the last man standing who remembers why all this started. These are only going to be available at Avantpop. I'm not selling them anywhere else. You have to go to them. That's just the deal. I'm so grateful they included me in this. And this is called This chapbook was officially banned by the SLC Psych Ward. A title that probably needs a little explanation. So here's the one that explains it. Smuggled behind enemy lines. Nice try. During intake at the Inpatient, they confiscate my latest book of poems from my brother like contraband. At least having the courtesy to read a few first. I take readers wherever I can get them. But if you aren't already nuts, it's not gonna get you there. And if you are already nuts, then it's good enough advice for how to stay out of places like that. In Florida, they ban books about history. I get it. Change scares us all, and no history, no future. In institutions, they ban books about survival. I get it. What sane person isn't terrified of surviving? Of what the self looks like on the other side of the breakdown? Husks of an old life, a status quo faintly pleading from beneath the rubble. Yeah, nice try, bro. Nice try. The most dangerous form of madness is the one that has the audacity to call itself truth. That's the difference between becoming ward of the state or just its enemy. I have one last short one if I haven't worn out my welcome.
Please, don't stop.
And I'm very happy about this. I guess it's kind of a love poem, but it's ephemera. It's the ephemera of love poems, because I usually have to take my love in small servings because of the way I live, which is as a vagabond. So this is called Before I Surrender to the Faucets. Long after the fumes of longing or love have passed, have dissipated, I sit naked ass on cold leather chair, writing so I don't forget. I still smell faintly of sex, that sweet sulfur of paradise, but I know I have to shower. The coffee cup is empty, makes a hollow noise as I pick it up, only to set it down, only to remember thirst can't fill it of its own volition. The part of me that longs or loves makes the same sound up until the scent of you drifts in my nose, like hoarse smoke created by furiously rubbing together all the wildflowers at once in their week-long bloom. Yesterday I was in an airplane, listening to strangers' snores, inhaling their farts. But today, it's just the friction of hope passed between bodies that for 20 minutes we can't do anything but twist and bloom and ache and grow, like the rains might never touch us again. Thank you all so much. The Swan Sugar. I'm on a publishing company, Zeitgeist Press, founded by this man, Bruce, along with another, David Lerner. Andrew's also on it. He's the talent. He's the wisdom, and I'm the attitude.
And
So-
please, if you see James Norman in public, remind him he needs to finish his novels, because this man will produce some of the greatest writings we will see in this generation. Norman, I fucking love you. So we have a new poet coming up tonight that we get hit up by a lot of people, and we tell people all the time, submit and read or send us a video. And this next poet sent us her website, her poetry, her videos, everything, so much so that there was no way we could not say yes to it. They were all fantastic, they were all passionate, they were all beautiful and well done and curated, and we were just stoked. So, a new poet to this classic evening of great poets. Please, help me give a warm welcome to Kelsey Taylor.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Taylor. Thank you so much for watching and listening today. I'm going to be reading some poems to you from my new book that I just published last month. It's called Sanguine, and this anthology is on themes of girlhood, love, parental trauma, and overall the human condition. The nature of the poetry that I write. I like to write confessional poetry, so you can make your own, interpret whatever you like, and enjoy. So the first poem that I'm going to read is on the theme, and this one is called, let's find it. Alright, so this one is called Ephemeral Ballet. The morbid beauty in its twisted grace, a haunting symbol in the vast cosmic space. Each bite a reminder of morality's bane, yet in the repetition, life is born again. Ribbons of time like blood cascade, a morbid ballad of creation and decay. Thank you. Alright, so this next poem is called You Magnum Opus. I am an artist birthed into this diamond void that is a girl that is so hungry to devour you whole and swallow your lore and borrow your soul and take them out on midnight trolls. That is why I say guard your heart, you delicate desire's dearest dandelion flower. It is so precious, it'll guide you gloriously through this life, if you guard it with rosy pink lenses. I'm not sorry that I'm shy in my doings. I'm guarding my heart from the world's dangerous viewings. Thank you. Alright, so this next poem is called Celestial Cadence. Tears dripping like wax from a candlestick, black vinyl trees looking like hands, reaching up to grab us. Being a girl is somewhere between my fragile morality and the divine. I cut my hair in a fit of winter rage. I want to disappear into the whole curtain of your divine satin mind. You make me wander in spades of grass and question humanity. Am I the only one that feels this agony? Am I the only one who feels alone? I close up, my knees to my chin, tears, a dancing waltz on my flesh. Here I am, frolicking with felines, thinking of how much you are missed. Thank you. Alright, so this next one is a bit of a longer one. This one is called Impermanence, Serenity in the Face of Sadness. You are not of this world. Do you remember who you were before they told you? I'm starting to remember. The colors I see, the fruits that I eat. I am not of this world, though I am in it. The more I learn about my home, the more homesick I become. I wasn't meant to get hurt and start to cry. I wasn't meant to sweat and end up dying. I am not of this world, though I'm in it. So don't tell me you want to stay with me forever. Even in this world, I am a temporary microscopic speck, inevitable, doomed to be put out like flames from a fire. But isn't there a sweet thought in that? A promise that what we have doesn't last forever? Doesn't make the moment more or less special? And our kisses taste like pretzels, and your freckles denied me the only thing I ever wanted. All I ever wanted was your mortal hands wrapped around this dying temple. Sometimes I feel cold inside. The kind of cold like I am fading away, evaporating like smoke in the chill biting air. I dog-eared my favorite parts of you and annotated you raw. You left the rotted ribcage with a blue ribbon inside. It turned into a bluebird that sings a haunting melody, awakening your ghosts, the past that you long forgotten. My memories, I haunt them as they haunt me back. Though adorned with a melancholic beauty, the graveyard holds within its sacred confines a sense of comfort. It is life's impermanence woven into the very fabric of our existence. It beckons us to cherish each precious moment, to honor the beauty of our own fleeting lives, and find solace in the knowledge that we too shall someday join the choirs of spirit, where spirit meets the bones. Thank you. All right, I'm going to find the next poem. Let's see. Speak among yourselves while I find. Let's see. Okay, I found it. Thank you. Divinity will stain your fingers and mouth like a pomegranate. It'll swallow you whole and spit you out like spilled wine, drunk and wanting. You'll reach for it again and again, you greedy little human fingers, clutching at everything that's love within your reach. Even though you know you are rot and decaying in stages, you seek plus summon divinity like a worn glove. You want to know how this ends, diamonds or stones. You want to know how your name came to lodge itself in this anatomy. Skin is the only thing keeping you from going everywhere at once. You're somewhere in the future, and you look much better than you do right now.
So, I've always considered myself a pagan, and I realized when I saw Kelsey's videos that it was her voice that was always talking to me in my head. That was the goddess right there. So now you know. I think we're gonna bring it back more often because that was pretty impressive. I consider myself a sharing guy. I'm a poly-poet guy, and but occasionally you get a little jealous from poets or people or whatever. And there's one poet that I get a little jealous of their talent, their wordplay, and how they present. And I am jealous to even say, please help me welcome up my good friend, Mike Falconer.
Hello, everybody. We're giving Shwa his $100 later. Oh, that doesn't work.
You gotta share it though, it's Polly.
Okay, so the dictionary definition of ephemeral is lasting for a very short time. I'm from Scotland, you might have noticed. So I visit home, try to do that about once a year. So this is about a poem about going home and the differences of being at home. This is called Out of Time. Gutted like a fish by the future. Faces from the always past, hard in between, lives of labor and class, classless and adrift. Made for horses and trams, shoehorned in the buses and trains, buckling under the weight of cars and multi-story parking. Skin in the game, or showing skin instead of the game, Californian tans and luxury coffee, pasty white faces and bad complexions poured into summer clothing in the dead of winter. Overcast and underserved, money reveling in the markers of poverty, geographical loyalty repaid at the leavings of capitalism. Yet there is pride in this belonging, free from judgment inherent of contradiction. History and culture of independence, the art of finding one's place in the world, a place immune to judgment, adrift in time, but still home. Thank you. I travel a lot for work, and you kind of have weird things when you travel a lot, and things kind of happen to you. And there's these moments that happen, and this is called simple obsession. Whispers from another stranger's road, scratchings in the margins of a Gideon Bible, passages imprinted on the last pages of a hotel notepad, a scribbled addition to a room service menu. A simple obsession, communicating with unseen past travelers in the secret places we share. People who we would never meet, meeting through the detritus of leavings. Someone else's boarding pass, used as a bookmark in a book exchanged. The fantasies and origami gifts hidden at the back of a drawer. A scrap of paper in the battery compartment of a TV remote. The places that belong to a traveler and survive the decontamination of people making minimum wage. Gifts for the very skilled or extremely lucky. Human connection from those that abhor it at every other turn. The places that don't belong to locals. The stranger reading a book at the bar, there for food, alcohol, and little else. Connection without connecting, in a world that prefers home to anywhere else. But what to do when home is not an option? Not the horror of homelessness, but the despair of less than a home. So allow me this obsession, the intersection of past and present, a tap into an unseen world, the breadcrumbs of lifted veils, the secrets we hold and only tell to strangers, and maybe to ourselves, alone in the dark of somewhere that's not home. Thank you. So I love Las Vegas. I've lived here for 12 years. And one of the things I love about Las Vegas is how much it changes, and just how much it changes on a dime. This is called Summer Rain. Drink first. Rain, rain, rain. The whisper on the lips of desert dwellers. A sky blue-black bruised like a threat in a bar, the side street flooding showing how few blocked drains we are from disaster. Flood channels become rivers rather than the arteries of action movie tropes, the detritus of fragile growth, slick with roads of vegetation mash. Thankful for the water, like the believers of old, a temporary reprieve from the inevitable, like the relief from the heat. What the rest of the world takes for granted is viewed through the eyes of disaster tourism. The city the butt of jokes and apocalyptic memes. Roofs built for sun leak. The sunshine playground floods. Water in the sports book and on the casino floor. Instagram-worthy amusement at the misfortune of the profitable. Tomorrow the sky and sun will return, but for tonight, the smell of clean, cold experience and damp. Transportation to another world for a day. Thank you. So some of my poems I'd like to take on other people's personas, and sometimes I don't like those people very much. This is called The Offering. It's a little dark. I carry my burden, my belief in those who came before, those who give freedom through bondage. I come to sacrifice. We crawl on our bellies, willingly giving blood to stones. Call me zealot, call me monster. My faith has a foundation of innocence. Who are you to criticize? My God is a vengeful God, and my beliefs only need to be acceptable to me. Rage, rage against the dying if you must, the cruelty of an altar of souls. I am absolved from damnation, but my thoughts and prayers are all. While I watch those around me eat themselves, Gordian knots of hang-rigging and impotence, I remain a humble servant with velvet rope predilections. And so my atonement is of others to give, the blood of those most dear, the pain of my belief and righteousness, a burden that grows heavier with every loss. But I, of the exceptional and the chosen, my choice is my Eucharist, my God, my absolution. You are my penance, the price I am prepared to pay. Thank you. This is my last poem, and many thanks to Avantpop Books and the Office of Collecting for this. This is a fabulous event, and thank you all very much for coming out. This is pretty awesome of you. This is about me, basically. This is called The Greater Fool. A life is a lie, dedicated to self-aggrandizing falsehood, ideas withered and dying on vines of wrath, like the shelter of a decaying tin roof. A choice, to throw it all away in a fit of despair, or to continue on, parading a shell of self-parody. There is no meridian where here there lies dragons. Of course, I'm the asshole, the greater fool, overvaluing things that others consider worthless, tilting in windmills, being eviscerated by those one wants to be most valued by, that Don Quixote moment, the incompatibility of the practical and the aesthetic. But if that is fate, then manifest away, the greater fool I'll be. I'm proud of it. Thank you very much.
Mike Falconer, everybody. Yeah. And to be honest, I'm not only jealous of Mike's poetry, this whole lineup it should make us all be better poets, because it's been phenomenal, and I'm so glad everybody showed up. That's a wrap for us. Thank you for coming out. Please, we sell these poets books at our bookstore. If we don't, you can also buy some of them right here, right now from the artists. Please support these people. They're the future of writing and storytelling and poetry at the very least. So thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it.